Alright, welcome back to my playthrough of World War I, 1914 through 1918. The final installment. We're gonna wrap things up by playing the last 4 turns, starting with game turn 7, the summer of 1917. I made some adjustments on the crypt track and a couple here on the board to try to account for some mistakes made in the last video, all noted as usual in the description box below the video. And so let's go ahead and get started with Allied movement. We're going to start by moving the newly built British Fifth Army from Lviv down to the Turkish coast. They're being transported by sea, and they'll land in Bosporus, just outside of Constantinople. We'll bring the British Fourth Army over as well, 1-2, to join in the attack against the Turkish First Army defending the fortification. I'm going to use these yellow cylinders to mark hexes that are supply sources still available to the Allies. We're going to move some units around here as well to start pushing inland and towards Russia. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 1. Finally, what to do with this. I can leave it where it is, but I'd rather move forward, even if that means possibly losing our connection to the supply source of this hex. We'd still be able to trace supply through these other 2 hexes. Okay. Now over to the Eastern Front, where we hope to improve our defensive position as the Russians, while we wait for the British to continue to make progress down in Turkey and hopefully destroy Constantinople and the Turkish First Army defending it while it's still a summer turn, thereby opening a sea route through the Dardanelles, which will allow us to finally be able to begin borrowing crypts from our allies, save France, who's all the way up at 37 on the track. Let's see what we can do. So we'll bring the Russian 11th Army, 1 and a 2, 3, and then the Russian 5th, let's see, it's tough. Before I move that, one, one, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll bring the Russian Fifth Army back a hex. Third Army, 1, 2, 3, 4. 8th, 1, 2, 3. 12th, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now for the Central Powers movement phase, starting in the Western Front. We have a newly built Stoßtruppen unit in Frankfurt ready to be deployed to the Western Front, perhaps up here to target the French Fourth Army, which is defending a resource center. So we'll take the place of the German Third Army, which will pull back a hex. 1, bring this, and a 1, and a 2, 3, 4. Next we will pull the Bulgarian armies away from the British and Romanians, as they only have 3 crypts at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll bring the Austro-Hungarian army forward a hex. In the Eastern Front, we will bring a German army and Austro-Hungarian army in each of these two hexes. 1, and I'll bring this 1, 2, 3. 2 German armies and an Austro-Hungarian army here as well. 1, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we'll do the same thing here with 2 German armies and an Austro-Hungarian army. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll bring the 3rd Austro-Hungarian army down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 4th to take its place. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Finally, we'll pull the 2nd Austro-Hungarian army into Odessa. 1, 2. Here's the board at the end of the movement phases. We are entering the superior player determination phase, and as usual, the Allies are the superior player. Here we are on the crib track. France is at 37, Italy 34, Russia 26, Germany 23, Britain 22, Austria-Hungary 15, Romania 8, Turkey 6, Belgium 4, Bulgaria 3. We are going to resolve combat off camera this time, as we have 4 turns to get through in this one video. Most of the action, at least in the first couple of sets of attack phases, happens on the crib track anyway. I'll turn the camera back on if we see any movement on the board. So here we are in the midst of the first inferior attack phase. We started out by resolving the attack against the French 4th. That's here in clear terrain, defending a very valuable resource center. We attacked with the German 2nd Army and the Stoßtruppen Army, using infiltration tactics, and rolled a 1 on the 5, which is a 1/4, forcing the French to retreat a hex, giving up that valuable resource center. The Stoßtruppen advanced to take it. The German 3rd Army followed closely behind. The French spend 3 crypts to absorb remaining losses. The Germans spend 1. And things are looking pretty good here in the Western Front for the Germans. However, they are now at 16 crypts. And during the first superior attack phase alone, the French were able to drop them by 7 crypts, I believe, and there's still 2 more superior attack phases remaining in the turn. In addition, the Italians did very well and dropped Austro-Hungarian crypts down to an 8 after resolving attacks correctly this time. So for that reason, things may be fairly quiet in the Eastern Front this turn, which give the Russians some time to breathe, maybe build another unit here at the end of the turn while they wait and hope for the British to roll a 1 in their attack against the Turkish army defending Constantinople. And they're going to have to do that hopefully this turn before winter sets in. Okay, and there it is. The British have done it. They've rolled a 1. Constantinople won't be destroyed quite yet, but it will likely be destroyed during the final superior attack phase. Here we are during the second inferior attack phase. You can see that during the second superior attack phase, the Allies dropped Turkish crypts to a 1. Alright, so we attacked the French 5th Army this time with the Stoßtruppen and German 3rd Armies. So this unit's in plain old clear terrain, but we decided to take this route anyway So this would be a 3 on the 5, which is a 3/2. And let's see. Yes, 2 or higher. So that would force the French 5th to retreat a hex, displacing the Belgian army in Paris. And we may advance into this hex. Let's see. Yeah. The German, or did we want to go this way? I can't remember what I wanted to do. There's also a resource center up here. Yeah, okay. German Second Army. Yeah. German Second Army will follow. And, yeah. So that's a 3/2. The French spend 2 more crypts. They're now at 10. Germans spend 2 as well. They are at 9 as we, I think, get ready to enter the 3rd superior attack phase. So here we are during the 3rd and final superior attack phase. We started down here in Turkey, where the Turkish army is defending with 4+1 for the fortification in Constantinople. We were attacking with 8, and we rolled a 4. And that was on the 3, so you can see, with Turkey having only 1 crypt remaining, just what we needed. Anything higher than a 4 would have meant that Turkey would have remained to see another turn at least. Maybe even 2, since the next turn is winter. So that destroys the Turkish army, and we may advance into that hex, which means this is destroyed. And now Russia may begin, starting at the end of this turn, borrowing crypts from their allies. Crypts in this case, maybe not in this specific case, but in other instances I like to think of in terms of financial aid to kind of help, conceptualize it. But here we have it. Things are looking a lot better for the Russians, especially since the Germans, the Central Powers, haven't made any attacks so far in the Eastern Front this turn. They're waiting till the 3rd inferior attack phase to see what they can do, but at that point they're going to be starting out with, I don't know, very few crypts. They may not have enough, especially if they want to continue pushing in the Western Front. We still have to resolve our allied attacks in the Western Front. The Germans have 9 crypts remaining, so depending on how well we roll, the Germans may not be able to do much else for the remainder of the turn, as much as they'd like to push to take out at least another resource center in the west. Here's the crypt track at the end of the 3rd inferior attack phase, the last attack phase of the turn, before we enter the crypt allocation and build phase. You can see Germany had just enough crypts. They were able to absorb all losses by spending crypts instead of retreating or destroying units. So this is where they end the turn on the Western Front. Austria made 1 attack alongside the Germans in the Eastern Front, which brought them down to a 1. France is all the way down to 4. I suppose we could have applied some of those earlier losses to the British crypts, but we decided not to. Yeah, that was probably a mistake. Anyway, Bulgaria still at 3, Belgium still at 4, Romania still at 8, Italy down to 17. We rolled really poorly in general in the Eastern Front this turn. Russia, because of that last attack during the 3rd inferior attack phase, is now at 22, still very high. Let's allocate some crypts. Game turn 7, the British get 20, 32, French 15, they're at 19, Russians 20, brings them to 42, Italians 15, 32, Germany 20. Austria-Hungary 15. Oops, 16 now. Turkey back up to 6, but it's really not much we can do with that. They're not even on the board anymore, but I'm not sure what to do with that. I mean, if we have a supply city available to us again, let's say Turkey's completely vacated, do we still get to build an army since it wasn't permanently eliminated and destroyed while in supply with the crypts that Turkey still has? These are things I'm not quite sure. Probably deal with it by not dealing with it. So let's build some new units. So here we are at the end of the crypt allocation and build phase of turn 7. So the Russians built an army, and the British built an army as well, 4 unit. The British also lent crypts to Russia. So as it stands, Russia's at 42, Britain at 22. Now we're entering the winter of 1917 through 1918, turn 8. And this is the turn in which we receive our first US 4 unit. This arrives on the western map edge. We can bring it down here, towards Italy. I think we'll just keep it up here in France. Okay, starting with Allied movement, we'd like to bring the US unit up to defend Paris. Then maybe this new British unit here. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 1. Next we'll move a unit by sea, the British Fifth Army from Constantinople, to this Russian coastal hex. Since we've cleared all these Turkish coastal hexes and opened up the sea route, we're able to do that now. And then we can bring the Russian 12th in, 1, 2. Next we'll move our British and Romanian units to try to break through this defensive line here formed by the Bulgarians, so that we can make our way over towards Russia, or maybe even sneak past through Romania towards Budapest along the rail. So let's see. 1. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Finally, we'll bring in the newly built Russian 10th Army. I'm thinking into one of these 2 hexes. Maybe here. And a 1 and a 2, 3, 4. Now for the Central Powers movement phase. We'll try to get the 2nd Austro-Hungarian Army back in supply. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Over in the Western Front, we'll try to bring a unit into this hex. Let's see. And a 1 and a 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So over in the Balkans, we're thinking of moving the Bulgarian First Army. Bulgaria has 3 crypts at the moment, 3 crypts that we had lent them as the Germans a while back, and that may be enough for them to be able to hold their ground there, but I don't think we want to chance anything, so we'll pull them back a hex. I think we neglected to lend them additional crypts in the last turn because I think those crypts are better spent in the Western Front, where we're making a lot of progress as the Germans, and hope to continue to do so in this turn. We've kind of given up on the idea of forcing an early Russian collapse and surrender, any kind of Russian collapse or surrender. It's already turn 8. There's only 3 turns, including this turn remaining. It's an all or nothing deal, and you need to capture Warsaw, Vilna, Brest-Litovsk, and Kiev, in addition to one other named city. At the moment, we've only captured Warsaw, and we currently sit on Odessa, but we're kind of pinned there by the British who've just arrived by sea. So that seems like an early game kind of goal that you race towards until the Allies are able to destroy Constantinople, at which point we need to focus on gathering as many, capturing as many Allied resource centers in the Western Front, and hope that the Italians don't break through, and that we're able to maintain control of our supply cities in Germany and Austria-Hungary. Alright, so here's the board as we enter the first superior player attack phase, and again, that player is the Allied player. I'll update you if anything happens on the board. Now we're into the first inferior attack phase after having resolved the superior attack phase. I figured I'd do this on camera here. We're attacking the British BEF unit using infiltration tactics, the Stoßtruppen unit, along with the 1st and 6th armies. We could toss in the German 3rd as well, bringing it up to a differential 8, but I think we'll keep it at a 4. Go ahead and roll. And we roll a 4, which is a 3/2. The British are forced to retreat a hex. They spend a crip, and this unit is destroyed. And now we may advance, and we'll have to spend 3 crips. 1, 2, 3, bringing the Germans down to 13. Here's the second inferior attack phase. The Germans are down to 8 crips. The Austro-Hungarians are now at 5. We will use infiltration tactics again, this time against the French 4th Army, defending this resource center along the rail line between Le Havre and Paris. So we're attacking with 8, they're defending with 3 plus 2. Let's roll on the 3. We roll a 4, okay, 3/2, barely enough. So this unit is destroyed. The French spend a crip, and the Stoßtruppen will advance. Be attacked with these 2 units. German 3rd will follow behind it, and the Germans will spend 3 crips. 1, 2, 3, bringing them to 5. During the final attack of the 3rd superior attack phase, the Allies rolled a 1 here. Austro-Hungarians are down to 2 crips. A 1 on the 2 column is a 1/3. So we will have no choice but to destroy this. It was in supply, but the Allies get Odessa back. And as the Germans had just enough to absorb losses during the 3rd superior attack phase, they're now down to 1 crip. Austria-Hungary, I think in this case, 1/3, this unit was destroyed voluntarily. Yeah, so this will end the attack phases as nothing happens during the final inferior attack phase. Now we'll enter the crip allocation and build phase. Alright, crip allocation time. Britain 10, bringing them to 18. France 10 as well. They're now at 22. Russia 10. Russia has a lot of crips now. They're at 49. Italy 10. 29. US 20. 35. Germany 15. They're now at 16. Uh-oh. Austria-Hungary 10 more, bringing them to 12, and Turkey still at 6. Let's build some units. Are we gonna build any? Let me see. Well, we can't build in an enemy zone of control. We will receive 2 more US units, 2 more 4-4 units. I don't think we're gonna be building any. Yeah. There are no more Russian armies available. We don't really... the threat has died down in the Eastern Front. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be building anymore. There's... I mean, we can rebuild the British BEF unit, couldn't we? It was in supply when it was destroyed. Yeah, we like that. It's a 4-6 unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Western map edge. We'll go ahead and place our new US units, 2nd and 3rd armies there as well. That takes us into turn 9, the summer of 1918, the second to last turn. I just realized that, unfortunately, this unit is no longer in supply. So that's destroyed permanently. And now we enter Allied movement. Alright, so over in the Western Front, we'd like to bring the British BF unit into Paris where it can defend with the 6. We also like the US units up front, since they have a lot of crips they could spend to absorb losses. There's not a lot of room to maneuver. Let's get the Belgian army out of the way. And 1, 2, 3. Let's see here. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. Wow, it's tight. It's really tight back here. Down here we'll just simply continue to push. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. For the Central Powers movement phase, we'll simply bring this German 5th Army to Le Havre, and we're grabbing a resource center here. And in the southern part of the map, we will pull the Bulgarian 1st Army away from the British. 1, 2. We should probably pull the Austro-Hungarian 3rd Army away as well. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so down here we will pull the Bulgarian First Army away from the British, maybe to Bucharest. 1, 2. We'll move the 6th Austro-Hungarian Army over onto the rail line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And bring the 3rd Austro-Hungarian Army up to join the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so really poor rolls all around during the first superior attack phase. Now we're into the inferior attack phase. We're attacking the British BEF unit defending Paris Resource Center with the German 3rd Army and the Stoßtruppen. We roll a 2. We're attacking with 8, they're defending with 6, that's on the 2. The result is a 1/2. Which means the British spend a crip and are forced to retreat, displacing this French unit, and we may advance. And the Germans spend 1. They're now at 13. Here's the board after the second superior attack phase. Russia's on the offensive. There are a couple of zero differential attacks they could make against the Germans. An attack down here against Austria-Hungary. Even with the double losses, they just have so many crips that it's worth spending them to try to bring Germany's crips down to 0. There's not much happening in the Balkans in general. Once the sea route to the Black Sea is open, it becomes a matter of trying to prevent the British from sneaking past us and grabbing any of our Austro-Hungarian resource centers. And you may have noticed that Germany has taken Paris. They've taken all the resource centers in France. And at this point, with only 8 crips remaining and another set of attack phases, they're just going to try to hold on to what they have. So we're going to skip over the second inferior attack phase and jump right into the third superior attack phase and see what we can do. Here we are at the end of the third superior attack phase. Russia ended up rolling a, here and here, 2 6s, which on the 0 is a 4/0, a loss of 8 apiece. They're now at 18. So the Germans were lucky, and they have 3 crips remaining as we enter the third inferior attack phase. They'll go ahead and take advantage of this. And they don't have to do this, but we'll go ahead and attack the U.S. 3rd Army with, let's see, we can go with 3 units for a roll on the 8, but instead we'll just attack with the German, let's see, Stoßtruppen and German 1st Armies. So we're rolling on the 4. Wow, we roll a 1. And that's a 1/3. That forces a retreat using infiltration tactics, which technically announced at the beginning. That displaces these units. We attacked with these 2. And we may advance. Okay. It's crip allocation time, our last crip allocation time, because there is none on the last turn. This is turn 9, the summer of 1918. The British get 10. They're up at 18. The French 10, bringing them to 23. Russia 10. They're now at 28. Italy 10. They rolled horribly throughout. 25. US 20. 42. Germany 15. Oh, wait, I didn't apply the loss. That was on the 4. 1/3. So the US actually spends 2, Germany 1, and then they gain 15, bringing them to 17. It's easy to forget. Austria-Hungary 10 more, bringing them to 17. Turkey's still at 6. Alright, game turn 10, the final turn, winter of 1918 through 19. And we're going to start with Allied movement. Oh wow, okay, let's take advantage of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Next over here, it's really not gonna do much, but 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Up here, see, this is the one thing, when it comes to the last turn, you can kind of get a little gamey on things, do things you wouldn't normally do if it weren't the last turn. I'm going to try to avoid that, I think. I don't know. I don't really like thinking like that on the last turn, but it's hard not to. I'm going to assume that that was taken into account, so I'm going to have to do something here to take advantage of the fact that we don't have a turn 11. So, as long as we can keep the Central Powers out of Kiev, we would still be preventing a Russian collapse and surrender. And Kiev is south of Gomel, right here, which means we don't need to worry about all this anymore. Okay, so let's see. They still get to move before, after us, of course. So we want to make sure that we protect our rail lines. I think I'm just simply going to move this and 1. Alright, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move this 1, 2, 3. Move this 1, 2, 3. Central movement. If I were to take a picture, a snapshot of the end game state, I'd probably take it in the penultimate turn. Okay, so what do we want to do? Let's just move this here. And, Eastern Front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's see. This is silly because it's really not going to do anything. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We could bring the 4th down here and put these units back in supply, but it's really not going to do anything. This doesn't do anything either. Probably call the game at this point, most people. Alright, to spare you the agony of Last turn syndrome. I'm going to go ahead and resolve the attack phases off camera. Even if there's movement on the board, it's not really going to change the final scoring. If it happens to, I'll let you know. Alright, here we are at the end of the game. So, here's what the crib track looks like. Germany, Austria-Hungary, Russia, Bulgaria, all down at 0 crypts. Romania at 2, Belgium at 4, Britain at 6, Italy at 10, France at 17, the US at 20. So, to update, we were able to push back this Stoßtruppen to this hex as a result of the Germans voluntarily retreating so that they can try to attack Brest-Litovsk in the last attack phase. And then the French, at that same time, were able to take back their destroyed fortification here. This unit retreated a hex. And, yes, the Germans did manage to take Brest-Litovsk. And they've taken Warsaw, they have Riga, Vilna. At one point, Odessa by the Austro-Hungarians, but that was taken back by the Brits, and we were not able to get Kiev. So the game ends without a Russian collapse or surrender. There's a situation in the Balkans. Austro-Hungarians retreating quite a bit. British pursuing along with the Romanians. Push the Bulgarians back as well. So I'll go ahead and tally up the score. Oh yeah, the Italians made some progress here. They were able to advance into this fortification, destroying it. It's a dependent supply city as well. The unit defending it was eliminated. Okay, so I'll tally up the scores by counting how many resource centers each player holds. They're worth 5 victory points apiece, and then the allied player gets 75 points in addition for the blockade. Alright, so the final score was 105 to 100, Central Powers victory, mainly because of the Stoßtruppen unit in the Western Front grabbing all those resource centers, and probably also because we didn't use the optional rule that allows the French to build a tank army to help them defend against that. We also, I forgot to mention, added 5 points towards the Central Powers total for the invasion of Greece, and 5 points towards the Allies total for Belgium. Thanks for watching.